Welcome to Pin and Reel, where we discuss comic books, movies, books, and more. I'm your host, Uncle Joel. Let's get into it. In the new Infinite Frontier Wonder Woman comic, Becky Cloonan and Michael Conrad take Diana Prince to unknown territory, thrusting Wonder Woman into the afterlife not of the gods and the heritage of her people, the Greek gods, but rather into the Norse mythology by sending her to Asgard. Exactly how and why this happened is part of the mystery of the book, and gradually we see Diana adapt to this warrior culture where they battle to the death every single day, only to be revived the next morning and go out and do it all over again. It's an interesting setup where we have Diana questioning her place there, but at the same time she's starting to acclimate and adjust to this is the new state of things. Where we also get this mysterious voice that visits her into the time between her death and her rebirth. And this voice tells her that she should not be in Asgard, and that she needs to get out of there and figure things out before it's too late. And it seems that the longer that she is there, the less that she remembers who she was in life, and she begins to acclimate to this Norse way of life as though it was meant to be, even though it clearly was not. We get shown that Diana does not have her powers, that she is not the same Wonder Woman she always knew she was, and yet she starts to accept it, and accepts that this is the afterlife now. But between the voice that visits her, and the strange talking squirrel named Ratatosk, we get hints that everything is not quite as it seems, or at least not as they should be. And so the first issue sets up this air of mystery. How did Diana get here? Why is her memory slipping away? Where have her powers gone? Is there somebody out there manipulating events? What dark thing is happening in Asgard? What exactly is it that Ratatosk wants Diana to do? And so this first issue and this new era of Wonder Woman really sets up an air of mystery and this sense that you don't really know what to expect going forward from Diana, or from Wonder Woman. I feel like Cloonan and Conrad, C&C as I call them, have done a pretty good job of setting up the mystery and introducing us to this strange new world for Wonder Woman, and this new status quo, and introducing us to new characters such as Siegfried or DC's Thor. And it's clear that they're trying something new and different. And for that, I applaud them. This definitely does create a sense of mystery, and it does leave the reader questioning what's going on and what's going to happen. And there's also a clever use of imagery in a few places that I feel like may be hinting at things to come. Now, this could absolutely be a coincidence, but personally, if I was writing the book, I would use these visual cues to be hinting at things to come. And I've seen that done in other books as well as a lot of DC's promotional material, so I'm not going to assume that that's not the case, and I'm going to be curious to see if that plays out. So yeah, there is a lot here that is really interesting, but at the same time, for some reason, the book just failed to connect with me. Maybe it's the fact that the book is taking a little bit of a slower approach than I would expect from a typical superhero book. And if that is the case, it may simply be my expectations that are throwing me off. You know, after what we got in Future State and in the Infinite Frontier special, I had very different expectations for what we would get in the main Wonder Woman book. And so to suddenly have Diana in Asgard and not having any of the familiar settings or any of the familiar characters, and have everything except for Diana herself being completely new, that does throw me off a little bit, and I feel like maybe those expectations are what is holding me back from really enjoying this book as much as I probably should. And I say should because there's nothing I can say specifically about this that is negative. The art is good, the storytelling is good, the setup is interesting, there is a compelling mystery, and in pretty much every way, this has the necessary pieces to be a really good book. So I may sit on it a bit and, maybe come back to it in a few weeks and give it a second shot and see if maybe I enjoy it a little bit more after knowing what to expect from it. But yeah, my expectations aside, this is a solidly written book, the art is good, and I'm very curious to see where the story goes from here. And then, from there, we transition to the backup story, which is focused on and features young Diana. And this is written by Jordi Belair, with art by Polina Ganusho. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And this story, I wouldn't say is bad per se, but I feel like it doesn't fit in this book. The lead story is focused on the afterlife, with death and resurrection and the threat of Ragnarok. Whereas this story featuring young Diana, very lighthearted, and it really feels like it is written for young audiences. So the main story seems to be written more for adults and older audiences, whereas the backup story is very much written for the younger audience. This backup story I could very much see handing to my 8-9-year-old nieces, and I feel like they might really enjoy it. But I feel like it's not really going to hit that well for the older audiences who are coming off of the main story. Now, it does serve to complement and kind of contrast with the main story. You have young Diana, who is trying to explore the world and wanting to get a new view of things, but she's very scared as well. Whereas in the main story, you get an older Diana who has very much known life and is now dealing with the afterlife, and she doesn't have that same sense of fear. And so by featuring this story here, you do get a good sense of contrast with young Diana versus old Diana to really see where the character has developed over the years and where she has come along the way. But despite that interesting contrast, personally, I feel like this backup story simply doesn't fit. So overall, I would say the book is pretty good. It just, for some reason, didn't really connect with me. I do think I'm going to read at least an issue or two more to see if maybe I just need to acclimate to the new setting. And as I said earlier, there's not really anything I could say negative about the book, so it's probably just me. So I'd say if you're interested in Wonder Woman, and especially if you're interested in a story that's trying something new and different, this would be worth checking out. But if you've already read the book, what did you think? Do you like this new setting for Diana? Are you interested in the mysteries being set up? And you want to see where it's going? Let me know down in the comments. I'm really curious to hear what you think. If you could help me out by hitting like, I'd appreciate it. Be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss out on the rest of my comic book content. And until next time, this is Uncle Joel saying, stay tangible.